News. Building in the Middle East.
Morning, listeners. Morning, Damian. How's everyone? How are you,
I'm
mate?
doing great, mate. Very good to be back here with special guest.
Yes. I would love to.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, Yasir. Thank you for joining us this morning as well. So I'm so excited about today's podcast. We've got our very special guest, Yasir Naveed, with us today. Why we invited Yasir onto the podcast is not only from his technical background in digital transformation, AI, cybersecurity, but he's got a wealth of experience, not just in the Middle East as well, not just with a lot of the community stuff that he does, but he's also got a very different perspective working in some major corporates in the banking sector, as well as government as well within the UAE. So I'm really excited, really, like just to get an insider's perspective of what happens in the Middle East from the government and corporate perspective. He's within the IT sector there and working on some very, very cool projects that we've probably read about, but never really get a chance to talk to somebody who's actually on the ground, doing the actual stuff. So, but not just that, Yasir, also for all of our founders who are watching the podcast, who may be business owners within the Middle East or thinking about moving over to the Middle East, Yasir is also heavily involved in the community with a number of community projects, religious projects, education projects, startups, you name it. He's an extremely busy guy. So without further ado, and maybe also, Yasir, before we jump into like your origin story, your backstory, what you're currently doing today, and also what we're looking at doing in the future, do you want to just continue on that introduction? Maybe anything important that I missed, we could start there.
Thank you very much, Sam. You already sound me like a big man, which I myself couldn't just think of. Thank you very much for the introduction. And you have always been nice introducing people. So yeah, you rightly said, my experience is not only Middle East. I started back from Pakistan, Islamabad. And from day one, I was lucky enough to work for big corporates. My major customers were in US and Singapore. So that gave me a good intro on how the corporate world is, how it works, be the tech part of it, be the political part of it, be the soft skills part of it. So all this, I was one of the very few lucky people who within very first year got the opportunity to travel worldwide, to implement the real projects, to meet different people, to meet different nationalities. Because back in Pakistan, we don't have a mix of culture like we do in UAE, especially. So that really helped me. And I was lucky enough that I kept on switching industries. I never worked on one single industry for long. So, for example, I started with multinationals, then I continued with the bank and fintech. Then I jumped in with the private industry. Then I end up in the government industry. So, yeah, I am one of the few who has mix and match of everything. And I worked on different technologies. And you rightly said, after 20 years working for different industries, you get a feeling from inside that you need to give back. And with the pace we are in from technology perspective, especially AI, what is missing is on how. What is everyone telling you? Okay, this is a tool, use it, this will automate, this will reduce 40%, this will help you fire 10 employees, but nobody tells you how to do it. So there I realized that I need to begin another channel where I start educating or start touching the missing part, which is the emotional intelligence around AI itself. So we have heard emotional intelligence about project management, but emotional intelligence around the technology itself, which I always feel is missing. So this is where I started different directions along with my professional career. So as we go, we can touch every part of it.
Thanks so much,
Thank you
Yasir.
so
I'm
much,
interested because I saw doing the research for this that you started off as a research student and looking at
Yeah.
CERN supervised computing projects and particle physics and so on. So it
Yeah.
seems like quite a jump to go from that very, I guess, theoretical side of physics and so on into something that is now, you're leading government digital transformations in the UAE and abroad. So how did you go from like that, I guess, a very academically focused side to being something that's far more, perhaps practical, and it's technology, but I'm curious how you went from one to the other.
Yeah. So, as they say, first I will answer the other part. As they say, nothing is useless in life. So that research till date is helping me. By the way, helping how that my mindset is totally different. I don't just look on the results. I look at the background. I look at the reasons why we need this, how we can implement this. Are there any fallbacks or fallbacks or fallbacks? I really like this term. So whenever I design any solution, and Sam has worked with me on a couple of solutions, I always ask, what if this fails? So this element I have learned from my research experience. So I would first answer that part of it. Now, how I ended up from research to transformations and industry. CERN was a research center. At that time, the grid computing or the distributed concept was getting popular. It was not very public, like everyone is talking about AI. So distributing computing at that time was like an alien term. Nobody knew that. And the institute that I was studying in NUST was one of the very few, or two or three basically grid centers in Pakistan. And I was lucky enough that within my fourth year, I was invited to Sundap. And there I worked with many industry professionals. Soon I realized that I am not a guy who will spend time on theories. So by spending more time in those events, I somehow thought about the practical part of it. And during those seminars or events, I was invited by Alexa Technologies. I ended up there. And why I went into it, because in that grid center or the node of CERN, we were playing with the data. So it was all about collecting data, manipulating data, creating some useful data out of it. And Alexa at that time was dealing with document composition. So somehow that research was linking me with that. And within 1 year, as I told you, I ended up traveling abroad, working with these bank core technologies in their core banking system, understanding how the data work. And it was a surprise element for me. At that time, there was no concept of personalized statement, personalized advertisement, and the data format of the banking solutions. It was very raw. It was not formatted at all. Even it was not comma delimited. It was very complex data. And the tool that we were using in Alexa, or the technology we were using it used to parse PCL files, PDF files, PostScript files, and it used to turn or convert that unreadable data, the complicated data, into a user-friendly data with a header, with a footer, with a midsection for the transactions. So basically, for the first 2 years, I was actually doing research in my job. So really, I didn't feel, Damian, that I was getting out of the research. In fact, at that age, I was really excited that I'm into practical, making money out of it. With CERN, I was not making any money as well. So at age of 19, 20, you get excited. So that became my path. And as they say, once you move forward, you never look back. I am still connected with that faculty, NUST alumni. I am vice president here in UAE as well. So I still do connect with them. But yes, my paths changed. But I think till date, I use that research. This is really helping me till date.
So a great question to follow on from that discussion. And actually, we've got another partner who's also very similar path to you, who came from a working in the banking sector from the development side and technology side. So you came over here, you started working within the banking sector, 2010. You said you were flying quite a bit, globally. Could you give us a little bit of a quick snapshot of like where the Gulf and the UAE was from the technology perspective in regards to their digital transformation and was it like you said, it was a bit of a jumbly mess, like the software, the compared to the rest of the world, and maybe also where it is like today, or maybe we can continue that later in this episode of where it is today compared to the rest of the world from the government and enterprise level.
So Sam, while I started my career in Pakistan, but the good thing was that the company was US based, my clients were US based, Singapore based. So I didn't really have a technological shock or the corporate or the cultural shock in terms of corporate. But yes, there was a cultural shock in terms of processes. So when I moved to Middle East, especially I started working with Egypt. My first client was HSBC. And I was telling you off the camera, till date, the HSBC and some other banks, their credit card statements, they are designed by my hand till I get those statements as I am their customer as well. So, but their process was totally different. When after 2 years, around 2011, I started coming to UAE, I really experienced something different. And the pace was totally different. The other countries' pace was not the same. Even some European countries, I would admit the pace was not the same. In UAE, every day was a new day. Although I didn't start with the government industry, I started with enterprise. But from day one, they were trying to adhere to the visions 2021, 2030, 25. These were the terminologies I heard for the first time in my life. I never heard them back in my home country. I never heard them in any Middle Eastern country or even European states. This was the first time I heard that we are linking technology or our implementations to some kind of a vision, which is led by a government or by the top leadership of the country. I think that is something which totally changed, and I have witnessed, you have witnessed, Damian has witnessed that as well. That every year is a new year here. Every year the resolution is new. There is a new technology trend, and mostly these are not going in waste. By the way, we implement something which impacts citizens, which impact happiness of the citizens, which impact efficiency of the government itself, how it operates. So that is one difference I saw. And to be honest, this distance or the gap between UAE specifically and the other world, even the top countries in the world, this I have seen being increased every day, by the way. So, and now, we are witnessing even in terms of AI, UAE is one of the top countries who have embraced AI like nobody else, if you see all the charts. So that is something I witness daily, and this is why I stick to UAE.
I mean, like for me, Damien, before you jump into the next question, I just find that super fascinating, isn't it? Like someone like Yasir, from like we're seeing and reading, and we're very much amongst it today, so we know where their maturity level is and their thinking today, and maybe in compared to the rest of the world. But super interesting to hear that they had the same mentality even back in 2010, right? And still the same motivations that motivates the rest of the labor force in the UAE to go and paddle in the same direction. It's all about that vision, isn't it? Company wise, or even government perspective wise.
Government perspective wise, yes, it really matters. And as they say, any policy, the success for any policy, be it technology, be it any other policy for any other corporate or for any other country or even for your home, it all starts from the top to bottom approach. It never goes from bottom to top. So that vision vision always goes top to bottom. And this is why UAE always win on that. And I, being working in government industry, I witness this daily. Every year we have a new resolution, we have a new vision, we have new objectives, we have new deadlines. And we always try to follow it and we achieve it because the leadership, they have certain belief that we can do. And this story doesn't end here. They don't only give you vision, they give you all the ecosystem as well. They give you all the support possible as well. They give you all the financials which you need to achieve those objectives, all the resources which you need to reach your destination. So it's a proper ecosystem in place. Without ecosystem, only with a wish list or with the will, you can't achieve it. So they don't only see the vision, they provide you with the resources to implement the vision as well. And this is why people love being here. You have easy access to technology. You can easily set up your company in minutes, your bank accounts. You don't have complications, tax complications. It's very easy to reach out executives. It's very easy to reach out underdeveloped countries market. So you can hire labor from there. You can connect to the IT hubs around you very easily. So the full ecosystem work connected in a very good way.
It's interesting you mentioned about being driven from the top. One of the podcasts Sam and I do every month is talking about regional technology news and so on. And without fail, every single time, there's a new initiative being driven by the government. A lot of focus right now on AI, naturally. And we've seen like whenever there's new innovations coming out, the policy always leads. And like you say, Yasir, it's coming from the very top to enable enterprises, small businesses, and so on to fully adopt this. And we always talk about like the UAE's, one of the absolute leaders when it comes to like artificial intelligence and the governance of these kind of technologies as well. I'm curious, Yasir, have you already seen, given you've been in the region for over 15 years, I believe, is that now that the UAE is showing such leadership here, are you starting to get queries from other countries going, okay, well, we've seen what you were able to achieve there in the UAE. Are they looking to, I don't know, I guess, for lack of a better term, export some of these either technologies or governance processes or innovations to other sectors or other regions as well?
So that is a very spot on question, Damian, and this is actually happening. So of course, I cannot disclose details of those collaborations, but yes, they are happening. We are being approached at a professional level, at the government level, to utilize our systems, our technologies. And the best part is because it's not only about technology. If you know about UAE, they have a separate policy for security. They have a separate department named desk for this. They have separate guidelines for user experience, the way smart way guidelines. So you name it and you have guidelines. You name it and you have a body, uh, authority looking after the compliance part of it. So they always work for excellence, and they base their standards on international. So when companies or governments or individual approach us, they do not approach only because of the technology. Technology is there, they can approach. They approach for the processes and compliance around that technology. And we have been collaborating on that, and even on individual levels I get requests for guidance as well, for compliance, especially how you take care of the security part, how you take care of the adoption or enablement part, how you take care of passing the vision from leadership to the ground employees. Is there any policy around it? How you enforce security? These kind of questions, yes, they do come on daily basis. And surprisingly, the question doesn't come which tool you are using. So that is a very rare question we get. Normally, we get question around policies, about how you ensure the security, about how you ensure people are aligned with the vision of the top leadership. These kind of questions we get on daily basis within and from outside as well.
And like, this is public information. I literally just driving to the office today, Parkin, which is a public listed company, but it's a government backed public listed company. And they're on the radio where they're expanding from Dubai to now Sharjah and other Emirates. But they said multiple times that they want to also expand into other countries as well. So there's like one case example where government entities are looking to expand, and I agree with Damien. I feel like getting inquiries from these other guys, seeing what's happening here as well, or there may be a proactive approach like Parkin, who's proactively going out there looking for business as a for-profit government entity.
Yeah, and we must mention few events like GITEX. You all have been part of that. So these kind of events invite these queries, by the way. They invite the people from outside. And when they come here, they know more about the processes, more about how or what is being done with this technology. People don't come here for technology. People come here for the process around the technology, how you are using that technology. So I think that is the difference. And events like these are really helping us with people coming out to us, reaching out. That again, it come back to the vision and the ecosystem around it. If and you name it, everyone knows about GITEX and everyone tries to come and be part of it. And now we are having one event in Abu Dhabi, I think in October, around AI as well. And even my friends from US and UK are approaching me that we are planning to travel, we are planning to come. So that resonates. That sound is echoing around the world. So people know that, and people come up with the queries.
And I think just following on from that, Yasir, I just did a quick search. So yeah, look, here we go. The primary federal policy-making body is the UAE Council of Artificial Intelligence and Blockchain, while the Artificial Intelligence and Advanced Technology Council oversees the strategy and development. So there's two different UAE councils here that are putting those policies, like you said, together, and the frameworks, and then rolling that out to all the ministries to follow. So it's not just the vision from the top, isn't it? But it's like deploying that vision to these really large, big data, government ministries to also follow that vision as well. But that the having those policies in place is as important as the vision.
And you mentioned two different bodies, but you need to also consider the fact that these two bodies does not work in isolation. That is even the most important part of the puzzle. So it's not about making different policies or different bodies and then everyone is working in silos. You'll end up a disaster. So again, they are connected. Me being working in this sector, I know they are all connected. And they follow certain ground rules, they follow certain instructions. This is why they are able to make or add value into government entities, as well as many private companies or large enterprises are even using those policies, whether they are not mandated to do so, but still they refer to desk policy for their security setup. Still they refer to DSG guidelines for their web designing part, although they are not being mandated by UAE government. I've seen some private organization implemented their own happiness index just to follow the same process which government is following up. So it is not only for government. Government is helping, leading from the front, as an example for other entities to follow the same, and even for other countries to follow the same. When you travel around the world, when I travel around the world, if I interact with any government organization or government services, we see the difference. I will not name one of the top leading country in the world. I had some work and I had to apply for something. It's just like last year. And imagine what they asked me. They asked me to fax. Now, if I tell this to my even 15-year or 7-year-old son, 5-year-old son, he would ask me, Baba, what is fax? Nobody knows what is fax now, right? So, but leading countries in the world, first world countries, they are still using fax. So we are not living in that world. That was alien to me, and it took me like moment to digest. Okay, I need to now find fax. So I had to search on Google, I had to register for fax, and then I ended up doing that fax. And I had to keep my subscription for 3 months because it took 3 months to respond to that fax. And here you go to Diva or to any government, or even you don't go, by the way, you just do everything online now, and you get your services within seconds, within minutes, if not seconds, right? So we are used to a different. So I always tell my kids, we are spoiled by living here. We are spoiled. We cannot now live in any other part of the world.
Honestly, like
I-
yesterday, I did the Ejari, and it's just so beautiful, isn't it? With Dubai
Yeah.
Land Department, you pay your money, and you get the Ejari certificate in your inbox, literally seconds. It's so efficient.
So Sam, you have been asking me question. Now let me throw a question on you. With this example of Ejari, you think it's only technology behind it?
Yeah, no, of course not, right? Like in order for every system to work together, we need I guess, all the data. Well, I mean, I would say it is mostly technology, isn't it? But I suppose
Well,
like,
there's governance
I
around
mean,
that as well, right?
It's a
Like
process, it's a governance, it's KPI,
security.
it's everything. So before even implementing technology, you need to have a very foolproof process. You need to have your variations, alternatives, fallback policies. Without this, you cannot achieve this 1 minute license window or 1 minute Ejari issuance. So technology, other countries, they don't have technologies. Every AI and every headquarter is outside, not in UAE. But why UAE is doing this? So it's all
and we
about
were
process
talking
at the
about,
end of the day.
yeah, and like we were talking about this, me and Damo, in the one of the recent podcasts, that because of these councils put in place, right? Like you said, these policies put in place, especially these new councils for artificial intelligence, it really will accelerate UAE compared to the other countries in regards to how far we get this implemented, and mainly from the government perspective. But following on from this conversation and moving on from your banking experience and career within the UAE, you then moved over to government. I don't know when you actually moved over there. And then following on from that last discussion point, uh, has it always been like this since you've been in government in regards to the policy making and putting in these frameworks before you and your team go ahead and execute the next project? Or is this more of a recent thing, or more, it's probably matured a hell of a lot more, I'd imagine.
Okay, to answer first, it's almost been a decade in the government industry. The second part, when you see any successful man, any billionaire, any millionaire, you see the Lamborghini he's driving in. But you don't see those nights which he spent on the park on the bench, right? But there is a process in building. He took years. There are only few lucky people who get something and they get. But if you read the biographies of all these successful people, I would not say rich, because successful is a definition which is different for everyone. So if you read those successful people history, uh, you don't know, and you realize how much hard work or how much tough time they have been through, but you don't see it. You only see the lights, you only see the glitter, you only see the gold. Same is true. Why I took you, for people to understand in a better way, because I teach, so I have habit of giving examples. Sorry about that. But same is true for the success of the government. The policies or the success you see now, as I told you, when I entered 2011 in UAE as a permanent resident, I had been traveling before as well. The first difference I saw was, even I was not in government industry, I was in enterprise, but I was working along with banks and government organization. Everything was aligned or sync with the policies of the government, with the vision of 2025, 2030, 2040 from day one. So it is not something new. So it took ages to mature, but it always existed. So this is why I said it's not only about technology, it's about framework, it's about process, and those are built through vision. They go back, they link back to the vision itself. So for example, just a very clear example, a layman example, when you start your day over the weekend, if you sleep without any goal for the next day, at least this happens to me, I would wake up at 7, then I'll again sleep, might be till 10, 11. And when I wake up, maybe 1 hour I'll waste in breakfast. And for the next 2 hours, I would do nothing but just wasting my time around thinking what to do. But the other days, when I know at 7 sharp, I have to do 1, 2, 3, at least the first task, I would start my day very actively. It will be followed by sequence of tasks. So if you don't know where are you heading, you end up heading nowhere. So same goes for policies. So it is not possible that you shape policies after getting the success. Logically speaking, this doesn't make sense. So it always has to start with the policy. It always has to start with the vision. So it is not something new. This is what I told you when I entered UAE for first time. This was alien to me. I never heard about these things before. So everyone I work was short-sightedness. We have to deliver this in 1, 1, 2 months. But here when I came, okay, we have to deliver in 2 months, but we have to align with this. Next year, we have to do this. After 3 years, this has to be upgraded. After 5 years, this has to be expanded. These kind of terminology I only started hearing here.
I mean, I know if I could talk about what I guess the culmination of one of these, I believe, Yasir, you were pivotal around a project that won both a Dubai Quality Award and the Sheikh Khalifa Excellence Award. And I guess that
Yeah.
kind of illustrates, what can be achieved there. Can you tell us a little bit more about, without necessarily the specifics, but how that kind of came together? And also, I guess, the fact that these kind of things, the awards themselves exist to recognize these kind of innovation. I'd love to hear more about your story there.
Yeah, so these kind of initiatives again take us back to the vision and the vision to implement excellence everywhere. And these two awards are basically based on EFQM, the European Excellence Standards. However, as UAE works, customized in their own flavor to help UAE. So this is another lesson we learned here. So international standards are not followed as is. The base is international standard EFQM. But if you see, there are two awards, Dubai Quality Award and Sheikh Khalifa Excellence Award. So one is flavored to work in Dubai. The other one is flavored or customized to work in Abu Dhabi, not only UAE. So you see the difference. They even go into that niche or that minor details of it. So the base is same, but the models are customized to serve work or well in our environment. So Dubai has a totally different way of working compared to Sharjah or compared to other Emirates. So these are customized accordingly, and the core behind them is the excellence, how your operations will work effectively, how your end user will experience better, how you will be able to serve his needs utilizing less time, utilizing less resources, making sure he get what he wants in the first term itself, making sure you reduce your cost, you keep your cost in touch, in check, sorry. So all these kind of excellence put into together, be it finance, be it procurement, be it IT, be it security. So it touches all the elements of your company, and it gives you the base rules on how to work. Basically, it demands or it requires you to set policies that you will follow on daily basis to perform your operations. So it gives you checklist, it gives you policies and procedures, it gives you templates even to work with. So when you follow all these kind of guidelines, it is difficult from day one to implement those, but then slowly and gradually it becomes part of your DNA, and by default you start serving or start implementing it, and you see the difference in your user experience, you see the difference in your user interactions, behaviors, customer happiness index scores, your company operational efficiencies. You start feeling the difference, and we did. Basically, after implementing those models, we did optimize some of the processes, we did reduce some redundant processes, and this does not only end with those awards. So what I have understood by working in this industry is, it's not always, yes, it's good to win the awards, but it's not always winning about the awards. It's about implementing those and creating a difference. And this is the instruction from our management as well. Whenever we enter any competition, yes, they want us to win, but not win at any cost. So to win by doing a real change. If we don't win, that's fine. That has always been instruction. But be part of the change, do some changes around that. And these kind of, this is one of the standard we have discussed. There are many standards which government is enforcing on. And as I told you, even large enterprises, private companies are adopting those standards without any obligation because they see the value around it.
Now, this is a perfect segue. While we're talking about projects, a nice little snapshot of projects, I'll stay on the projects subject. Again, we say as much as, you feel comfortable to talk about, but it's, we're seeing it all in the press. We're seeing it all in the news. Damian and I, we've talked about it in previous podcasts, but I feel so lucky to have someone here we're able to learn from within of what's happening when it comes to the agentic AI. This new mandate, this new goal, this new projects to get rolled out, as the government said, across 50 of the ministry organizations. You said that you're involved in this project for your ministry, and the timeline is just incredibly. All the timelines, like you said, are incredibly short. Not you didn't say that. I said that. You didn't say that at all, actually. But from my perspective, they look incredibly short, mainly just because it's government ministries. It's such big data to roll out any project from the technical perspective, as Yasir really, really well. It's nothing is easy, actually, but to put it in a very tight timeline, it's extraordinary, very honestly. So while we're on the discussion of some of your previous projects, I would love selfishly to hear from you, this new project that you're now working on, which is implementing agentic AI into your ministry.
So, Sam, you used a very interesting word that nothing is easy. So I'll put it this way: nothing is easy if you don't want to work, and everything is easy when you work, right? Because
That's good.
so we are now, and we get the policies, we get the mandates, and we get the certain timelines, and we never take them as a burden now. Because we have been part of this process, and we see the value what we get after that. And to be honest, these deadlines doesn't come blindly. For example, few years back, there was a policy of 100% paperless. That was from the government. But when you go into
that.
details, so people were like, oh, we have to go 100%. What will happen? But if you read the policy in detail, there are exceptions to it. So for example, if you have transaction less than 50 or 100 in a year, you don't really need to automate that process. Continue doing the paper. So you have to read between the lines. So it's not that it is said we have to do it when it makes sense. So same goes for these new initiatives. And now AI, agentic AI, and all this is becoming a buzzword more, like blockchain used to be. But we have a set example from our government where it is pushing, but pushing in the right direction. So we have this agentic AI mandate with 50% of the services to be done, but there is a gradual timeline for it. For this year, for example, every department or company has to do at least one process, and then followed by timelines of 2027, 50% of it. The choice is with us to choose which processes. Mostly the biggest benefit in UAE is most of the processes are already automated. As this link again back to your previous question, when you say now it is becoming this policy, or was it from day one? So now you see the fruit of it, because the policy was to do the digitization, to go paperless, to automate every process. We are already there. So when we are asked to implement agentic AI, we are not worrying about automating the process. So if you go and implement this policy elsewhere in the world, their first step would be to automate the process. Our first step is not to automate the process. We already have 95% of process automated. Now we just need to find out elements of that process where we would inject agentic AI. And to be honest, RPA was already adopted by UAE, many organizations almost 2 years back. So it's very easy to implement certain elements of agentic AI. When government says implement agentic AI, it doesn't say implement each and every single step of your process. Not like this. Understand your process and see where it will help. If it doesn't help, don't implement it. So if it is making sense in reading the documents, in making decision on your behalf, in taking any action, reducing the steps. And by the way, as I said, the processes are already automated. So a good number of steps is already decreased. These processes are already optimized. Now, how it can assist the end user as well as the operations, this is the question. So first, you basically audit your process. You find out the loopholes or how it can be further increased where human touch is impossible, or human is impossible to implement or improve those processes. Or for example, human can work 8 hours in a day for a day, whereas you implement one agent who will work 24/7 by you in the background. He will take care of your testing, he will take care of your security vulnerabilities, he will take care of your alerts. So these kind of administrator tasks, first you have to find out list and then implement. So to be honest, from outside it looks like a task, like a mountain, but when you go into it, to be honest, injecting agentic AI into the existing processes, it becomes easy.
Now, like when we were talking about this article and many articles in our previous podcasts, we could only assume how they were using agentic AI. So not necessarily you don't need to explain with your ministry, but could you share like one or two like real case studies where other ministries have injected agentic AI and made a significant difference in, any ideally something significant instead of something like a more insignificant case study?
See, I can give you examples from within my organization. We have been implementing this, and we identified certain use cases before we even started any implementation. And even before certain use cases, we make sure we have AI policy in place. We make sure we have governance policy in place. We make sure we have a policy that tells us this tool to use, this framework to use, this LLM model to use, this not to use. So this is step one. After done with step one, we identify use cases. After identifying use cases, we started implementing. And one of the use case we started with was a virtual QA agent. So we started with that now because we had a shortage of QA resources as well, and the demand is growing every day. So we needed someone to work 24/7. We needed someone to work in our isolated environment in a very secure way, not leaking our data, not accessing the information which compromise our security. So we implemented this feature in-house within our premises, within our infrastructure, using our own LLM models, in-house everything, on premises everything with our security layers. And we have started seeing the fruits already. Yes, in some use cases it fails as well. In some cases it takes more time as well. But imagine you have one SAM working very good with very speed, but SAM can work 4 hours in a row, 5 hours in a row. If Sam is a Superman, he will work for 8-10 hours. At your age, mashallah, you are young, not like me. So, but the AI agent would work 24/7. When we come back to office 7 a.m. in the morning, we have our report of 100 test cases executed. Yes, we keep on improving the accuracy. We keep on improving because it will mature with the time. But that tells us the difference. Something which was impossible 2 months back is possible now. It relieves our resources. It cut our budget for the next year. We don't have to now hire 10 QA resources. Instead, we need to hire 5 QA resources. So it helps improve the efficiency. Another use case we are implementing is in one of the existing process, where one of our inspector used to read a bunch of documents, 40-page document, and then find and sometimes miss the differences, which is costly. Sometimes you are unable to find the difference, and later on you did not charge the customer correctly, or you miss some penalty or compliance, which can not only cost you money but can cost you other operational things, safety features as well. Now with these implementation, they are very intelligent. Once you train them properly, they will never miss it. So yes, it has to
On
be trained
tracks,
properly. Yeah, it has
stuff
to be
like
given
this.
the input properly. You need to control the hallucination element of it. You need to control the security leaking part of it. So I'm all for AI, but not in isolation. Through a proper channel, through a proper governance channel, because everybody talks about AI and they jump into AI implementation. This is where I differ in. You should not simply jump into the AI implementation. You should first see the real use case. You should first lay out the foundation of it. Come up with some policies. Again, I'm not a policy guy, follow 100% policy, no. But at least have a base, at least have your morning and evening riddle, which you have to follow must. Then you will be landing somewhere safe. Okay, you might not land in your spot, but you might land in a safe landing zone. So that safe landing zone you need to identify from day one. Then you jump into execution. So yes, it helps.
One of your signature topics, Yasir, is right around this, is AI readiness.
Yeah.
And you've touched on some of the elements there. So let's say you're going into a new organization and the CEO is like, we've got to do AI, we've got to do AI. What's the first real honest conversation that you're going to have with these guys? Is it around those policies? Is it around data preparedness? How do you, I guess, bring them back to earth a little bit about making sure that they're in the best position to adopt some of these technologies?
So whenever I have these conversation, my life, I have been in conversation with C's level. So I always follow one principle, and that has always paid me off. So they don't like me for the first time, but they like me always after that. And that rule is that success comes with responsibility. So you implement anything, you need to mention the responsible part of it. You need to mention the outcomes it can bring, the disaster it can bring, rather than just going with the flow that everybody is saying, yes, it is very good, let's implement, let's go 1 2 3. I always try to find the loopholes, the hidden things. And from day one, I try to be very honest and transparent. I try to vision them before and after pictures. So what I have observed with C's level, if you really give them before and after picture, but combine that with the solution, not always tell the problem, but if you tell the problem and you tell them solution 1 2 3, they always listen to you. For the time they get hold and they start listening to you. And if they really see value and if they really see the outcomes impacting them, then they take a pause. When I see them not adhering to, when you do not tell them the full picture. If you just go with the flow and you get scared, I will be fired or I will not be taken, then you are hiding some things and they take wrong decisions. But if you don't hide, they might not like you in the beginning, but they'll start liking you because they'll know this guy was telling me the truth, and you will you'll save them from the disaster. So I actually have few articles talking about how to implement AI securely and responsibility, or how to adopt it with the responsibility. I have my own framework which goes with 8 pillars, and one of the pillar, the starting point, is the data itself, because your data is the foundation. Then comes the process around it, then comes the infrastructure around it, then come the user stories around it, then come the implementation around it, and then come the follow-up or SOPs around it. But everything starts with the data. So if your data is not organized, if you have not observed or analyzed your data, and this is why I told you in the beginning, my research is still date helping me, because I started playing with the data. So people get scared by touching the data. So this scare jump was gone before. So this is still date helping me. So I am a data guy. I think we should not be scared of data. Whatever possibilities we see, good, bad, worst, we should highlight in the beginning. And this, I have seen it paid off every time.
So cool, huh? Like, it's so cool. Yes, I'm loving this conversation. Like, it's not a startup, it's not enterprise, like, this is government. So it's really big data as well, right? So and I think one more thing to add on to this as well, Damian, you work with a lot of gov. I've worked with Yasir and a few others, and obviously Yasir is from the other side as well. And one thing I've always found, you guys don't need to comment on this, but I've found like everyone is very much open for that conversation, right? Like you were saying, Yasir, like it's an open discussion. It's not just this is what I want and just do it. Like they are open to listen to your opinions, to listen to your feedback as well with every decision, from the initial start of the project anyway. Like you said, yeah, so looking at the advantage and disadvantage. So this is extremely important for these projects as well. Look, I know we're running out of time quickly, and so I'm going to jump into a different topic, but again, something that you've got a lot of experience in, Yasir. I really want to cover it though, just because that we do a lot of hosting and as well, and I've found, and we've discussed this in previous podcasts, that cybersecurity is absolutely, I don't know what you're seeing, Yasir, but 2026 is just blowing up, isn't it? Like cybersecurity, I feel, is as important as AI right now, and mainly because of AI is driving the cybersecurity and probably the attacks and the sophistication of the attacks and the frequency of attacks as well. I feel like we're talking cybersecurity internally more than ever before, I think. Tell us a little bit more about this, because I know it's a big topic on its own, and we don't have enough time to really cover all of it. But and obviously you can say as much as you can say publicly because you're in government, and we want to protect the government as well. So, but cybersecurity is just, it's kept me up at night sometime this year.
So, Sam, yeah, so even your statement that cybersecurity is as important as AI, I would disagree with it. With all the respect, cybersecurity is more important than AI now, or any technology. See, we keep on saying AI, but we never know after 5 years what will come. So I always redirect this discussion to technology. We should say technology, because today is AI, yesterday it was blockchain, tomorrow I don't know what will come. So, but the basic principles will always remain same. Data, the integrity of the data, process, the compliance, the integrity of the process itself. So it all goes back to compliance, governance, security. And in the recent times, we are experiencing, this has even become more critical than ever before. And you said waking up in nights, we are not even, there was a time when we were not even sleeping. This keep us, on our toes. But the good thing again, because the vision was already there, so I can say we were prepared for it. So every process we implement, we first think about the governance, about the compliance, about the security, not only from technological perspective or from the IT security perspective, from other things around it, be it the physical security, be it the people, the readiness of the people, and especially with the pace AI is progressing in, and people are embracing AI, the pace of implementing the security is not the same, unfortunately. But luckily in the government or the large enterprises, especially in government, this pace is good. But if you talk about other entities or layman, adopting AI is way faster than implementing security rules or security controls around it. So this is a huge vulnerable point, and we already see sufferings happening around it. So before executing any AI use case, coming up with the data integrity, data controls, coming up with the process, and coming up with the test cases, the security test cases, is equally or more even important. Securing your infrastructure, securing your tools, securing your processes, securing your premises, securing your files, securing your people, securing your equipment, everything is important. So even just securing your AI tools or your software is not enough anymore. There are cases, if you go to videos, very interesting videos, where people just act as calling from your service desk team, and they do a bet. I see one of the video where they do a bet that I will hack your service desk, and the guy called the service desk and acted like, I am a service desk and you are facing some problem, I have to reset your password. And within 1 minute he was able to get the password of the user. The user trusted and gave away the password. So it's not only about implementing the security controls around the software, around your environment, around your people readiness. The role of ISR become very important. The guidelines become very important. The difference or the education, because every company is not having only technical staff, or IT staff is always like 5 or 10% of large government enterprises. Most is the business, most is the operation, procurement, legal, customer facing. These people, they don't understand what is zero trust principle. They don't understand what is deep defense security policies. You cannot tell them what is privileged access management. You don't talk alien to them. But what you tell them is how to identify this email is a phishing email. This message is a scam email. This call you should not attend. This international number, if you get, you should not. If you get any UAE pass at gmail.com, you should not give your if your company name is ABC, your domain is abc.abc. So if something abc-.abc is coming, you should look for it. People normally don't do that. If somebody is sending you OTP, read the message. Don't just say because it came from ABC, just accept it. It's very easy to mask and use your name sam@sam.com. There are tools available. I can do it right away. So you have to be vigilant. So that education has to be there. So yes, software has to be secure, but more than software, your environment has to be secure. Your people have to be secure. That
Awareness.
education has to be there. That awareness has to be there. And this is where I see most of the private organizations are lacking. They are in this race of adopting AI, getting that this very AI can kill them as well. So
100%.
this is
Like
something that works.
For example, another example, I think just the complacency as well. I think is going to change fast. Through the awareness, through the training, a group, we're not doing their hosting, but they just got it just got attacked. So they brought us in. We sat there for like 4 hours explaining, like you said, to non-technical people how this happened. And the first thing they said is like, look, we've been hosting with this supplier for 7 years. Nothing's ever happened. So why now? We're like, I think I said it. I was like, forget about the last 7 years. There's a whole new ball game in 2026, right? So forget anything vulnerable. Forget it now. You're in trouble. You now need to play it properly. You need to do it properly now.
I was seeing one video, just another example. It was video from Pakistan. Well, these money changers like we have here. So here it's very easy. You can just walk in and you touch them, you give them money because there is no security. But back in Pakistan, I see this guy sitting behind a window. That window is covered with all the grills. And there are small holes where you give the cash. So one guy came in the motorbike and he asked that I have to transfer money. So there is a service you transfer through mobile number. I'll be very short. So what he does is he say, okay, give me your phone number. He say, I cannot remember my phone number, but my visual memory is very good. I can type it for you. So please give me your phone number. He asked to the shopkeeper. The shopkeeper was intelligent. He said, no, give me your hand. So he took his hand through the window hole and he said, now put your number. So this guy was basically coming with the intention to steal his phone. He never wanted to enter his number because he was thinking this poor guy will give me phone and I will just run away. But this guy was intelligent. So he had implemented his zero trust principles through that window. So what he did, he said, no, give me your hand and then type the number. This guy had no number in his mind. So he played around. And then after trying all things he could in this world, then he looked back. He gave a signal to his colleague who was waiting in motorbike because they wanted to run with the mobile. He said, no, we cannot do this. And what this guy said, he tried for the last time. He said, don't you trust me? And you know the sentence why I gave you this story. This sentence is coming from a guy who has nothing to do with IT, nothing to do with security. But that gives us a lesson which needs to be implemented everywhere. This guy gave a golden statement. He said, while I come and sit on this seat of my shop, I do not even trust myself. How the hell I would trust you? So this is what now we need to implement, the zero trust principle. Don't trust anyone. So at the example you gave, 7 years, 10 year, 100 year, doesn't matter. It matters now, every day. Yeah.
And physical security too, like you said.
Yeah.
And like we're seeing with the AWS, right? It's not just cybersecurity, but physical security of that data.
Yeah.
And assets.
And the people readiness. So it's all ecosystem. You connect together, all the dots.
Great. Well, I think that's a great story to finish the podcast on. Thank you so much, Yasir. I know you have another call to run to, but it's been a fascinating hour or so. learning about your past, your insights into, projects and success and AI and security now as well. So, on behalf of, Sam and all of our listeners, thank you so much for taking the time with us today. And I hope everyone gets a little nugget of wisdom from Yasir's, many, many years of experience in the region.
Pleasure is all mine. I really enjoyed this 1 hour, and I hope we added or created some value together for your audience.
And for us as well, I thoroughly enjoyed that, Yasir. I could have gone for another hour quite easily as well, because we never get this opportunity, my friend.
Yeah.
We became friends at the end of the day, and it was so lovely to learn more about you.
Pleasure is all mine.
Great.
Thank you, guys.
All right. Thank you very much,
Yasir. Thank
guys.
you,
And
Damian.
we'll talk again soon. See you on the next Golf Founders podcast.
Guys.
Subscribe for more stories from the Gulf.